Hello and welcome. I hope that you're all doing well. In this video, we're going to discuss how to actually add HTML to a page through JavaScript. So we're going to look at the interactions between JavaScript and HTML now that we have a solid understanding of the syntax and logic that HTML and JavaScript allow us to have. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it. So inside of my code here, I have this index.html page. And what I've done is I've actually moved my script, so this code.js script, over to this new page that I've created called by.html. There's nothing really in this page yet next to the script tag, and we have the typical head body HTML structure. Now what I'm going to do is inside of this index.html, I'm going to make it so that the button for by is going to redirect us to this page. Now we can actually do this using some inline JavaScript. So this is another concept that is useful. So rather than having to call a function every single time, we can actually write JavaScript straight into the onClick event, which will allow us to be able to redirect us to somewhere else or run some code when the button is clicked rather than having to load an actual function. So you can actually do it inline like this as well. And this is really useful for situations where you just want to redirect. So this is actually one of the new functions or ideas that I want to talk about in JavaScript, which is moving between pages. So using this window.location.href, we can move to the by.html page. What this is doing is it's saying for the current window, redirect to a location. That location is specified by this reference. The reference is by.html. So now when you click on this button, the onClick event is triggered and it runs this code here. This code moves us over to this by.html page. So just to show you that quickly, when I go and I load this page, when I click on this button, it takes me to by.html. You can see right there. So that is where that takes us now. So that's great. That's a good start. Now, from this point, what we're going to do is we're going to actually add in some code that's going to load our page. So we're actually going to load the content from JavaScript rather than writing it in HTML. And that will allow you to get an understanding of how we can set up dynamic content using JavaScript. So I'm going to introduce a new event, which is called onload. And what onload does is it runs code on the load of the page. In this case, the load of the body element on the page. So when this loads, I'm going to run the function myFunction. And we're going to come over here and we have myFunction declared still. And inside of here, we're going to actually write some code. Now, in order for us to write code, we have to have a location to target in order to do this. The easiest way to do this is to target an element by an ID. The reason for that is because IDs are unique, right? So as we talked about with HTML, IDs are unique, classes are not. So IDs are a really good option for selecting values in order to add JavaScript to them. So what I'm going to do is actually in this HTML, let's go ahead and add in a div tag. And the div is going to have an ID. And I'm going to call the ID, let's just call it test, just to give you something basic here. And what we're going to do is we're going to target this test tag and we're going to write some code into it. So the way that works is we do document. Document is how we actually target the HTML document that we're currently in. And then we're going to do the following, .get element by ID. So what this will do is it will go into the HTML document and it will search for a specific element in that document by the ID that is given. So the ID I'm going to give it is test. So what it's going to do is it's going to go into here. It's going to look for anything with the ID equal to test. And that is what it's going to act on. Now, if I want to add HTML into this tag, what I can do is I can use .innerHTML. So .innerHTML. What this does is it modifies the HTML inside of this tag. So this HTML in here. So basically it'd be the same as writing tags here, right? So that's what's going to happen when we do inner HTML. And inner HTML can take in any sort of HTML code that you would like. So for example, I could put in a header, right? I could say like h1 hello h1, something like that, right? That would be an example of something that we can do with this header. So now if I come back to the by.html page, what will happen is this header will get written into this test div. So let's go ahead and try that and see what happens. When I come over here, I can go ahead and I'll just go back here and refresh. I'm going to click on by now. And as you can see, we actually do get the header that says hello. So you can see that that actually did write HTML into this div tag, and it did it dynamically, right? It did it while the page loaded rather than having it just hard-coded in there. And this is one of the nice things that you could do with JavaScript. You can actually write HTML to the page, and this is really useful when we start to talk about interfacing with databases, right? So if we get data from a database, we can then write it into the HTML page using JavaScript, which lets us have more dynamic looking web pages. So this has a lot of good functionality that is important to utilize, and we will utilize this as we continue on through the course. So that's everything that I wanted to cover in this video. Thank you for watching. In the next video, we're going to take a look at a few other JavaScript components that we can use to interact between HTML and JavaScript. The main goal is just to give you the ability to input and output data using JavaScript. So that's what we will take a look at in the next video.